Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into the Performance Lab. Don't forget to subscribe below to the right for updates to new videos and a huge announcement coming up. Enjoy!
What's up, everybody? Morey Croson here from the Performance Lab in California, and we have another new breakdown for you today on Gardner Minshew, the man, the myth, the legend. Everybody loves him right now. I mean, just the his overall personality, the whole thing with the stash. I mean, just exactly what the Jaguars need, exactly what the NFL needed. Just really seems like a really fun guy and has been doing a great job as a quarterback. I'm sure everybody knew that this is coming because he's the talk of the NFL right now. So we'll go ahead and just get going here with the breakdown. The first view that I want to show is really a cool view of him throwing, and from here you could see, you know, when you get this angle, you could see what he's doing when he's loading. See how he goes from having his shoulders facing square here to really twisting his body and really putting a load, and you can't see it within the view here, but putting a load on his core to make it so now as he comes through, he's able to put just that much more rotation in this part of his body. So when he's going back and he does that little twist, he's loading up this part of his core, the part that we're seeing here, okay, is getting more loaded as he gets that little rotation there. Okay, so that's a very important little thing that you can do that'll help make it so you get that hip and shoulder disassociation that we talk a lot about, where that hip ends up rotating more this way. You can see how it's kind of pointing this way, where the shoulders are pointing more that way. And so when you can create that, that puts a certain stretch on the core that helps you generate overall more force. So a cool thing to be able to see. The other thing is, as you can see, as the elbow's coming through, an excellent job of keeping that nose of the football facing straight ahead. I see a lot of guys in this position where that nose is facing straight up. But look at the amount of force and torque that he uses within like his tricep muscle. Look at that arm, you know, right here. Look at how much activation he's getting through there as he's coming through the throw. And point being is that, you know, there's a lot of guys that you think that you're going to be able to throw the ball a lot more effectively by not practicing throwing the ball harder, right? You want to be able to maximize your velocity. Part of what does that is actually practicing throwing the ball with more force behind it. And so doing that more effectively by utilizing your trunk and also your arm is what ends up strengthening those muscles. So if you are throwing the ball, you know, 75, 85% a lot and hoping to increase your overall throwing velocity, or think you're going to be able to throw the ball significantly further, you know, it's just not gonna happen. Eventually, even when you're lifting weights, you have to be able to go over 75 to 85%, right? You got to be able to go in to those higher numbers at 95, 100% in order to end up building long-term strength. So it's the same type of thing when we're thinking about your throwing. You got to be able to actually put some force behind the ball and work on doing that effectively. And you can see, you know, how he's doing that here. Okay, we'll go to this throw next. The big thing that, you know, stands out when you see this throw, this corner route, is how nice and stable those hips are. So he takes a pretty big stride there. Okay, you can see that. But then when he's striding out, look at how those hips really become locked in, and he gets all that movement through those shoulders and really finishes through. I've been really trying to preach this a lot to athletes lately, where you got to finish through, you got to follow through as you're throwing. Those NFL guys do a great job of, when they're throwing, they get that hand all the way through the pocket, where I see a lot of novice quarterbacks not get that hand all the way through that pocket. They kind of stop right here with that hand rather than really driving that hand all the way through. And he does a great job of really finishing his throw, which is one of the big reasons that he has the arm strength and power that he does. Again, you could see here, and look, notice that rotation too that he gets in his hips. It's really hard to get into this position right here. Notice where how far the ball is back, how much he's totally turned within that back hip, and how he's all the way in extension within that back hip. So he's totally turned that foot, and his hip is all the way facing straight ahead. His trunk is all the way facing straight ahead while he still has that ball back behind. You could just work on getting yourself into this motion, into this position, and will work on your core and you'll work on your shoulder range of motion by just getting yourself into this position, practicing, bending that back knee like that, pivoting that foot all the way through, keeping that front part of your chest facing towards the target, keeping that hand locked into the right position, and then really stretching that arm back behind you. Even using like a band or something like that, you would be able to get a lot of overall benefit through there. I don't love how he really locks that knee out. I think he could actually probably get a little bit more out of his hips as he's going through, but the sacrifice that he makes within his hips, he's able to balance back out with how much rotation he gets through that trunk. Notice how much he's really twisting through as he's finishing the throw, which makes it so he's able to really generate a lot, and where he gets all that arm strength through or from. Notice that follow through, right? Notice how he brings that arm all the way up and all the way through, and that's just something that he's really trained his body to be able to do, and why, again, he's having the success that he's having at the next level is because the amount of force that he's able to generate. See, again, gets that back leg going, twists in that hip, and notice how much of a stretch he's putting in his arm and in his back, and that makes it so now when he finishes all the way through, he gets such a nice rotation through there, and again gets that full follow through, and that's what the name of the game is. You got to be able to stretch your body out as you're loading, and we talk about this a lot as well. Stretch your body out, have the right load, and then the right finish. If you can have a good load and you have a good finish, you're going to have a lot of success as a quarterback. There's going to obviously be some things you could probably or maybe do within the actual throw, but really understanding within your body how you can maximize your load, how you can maximize your finish, and by doing those two things, you'll make a big difference on your throw. And Gardner Minshew does a great job of doing those two things. Gets an excellent stretch within his shoulder during his loading sequence, and then as he finishes through, comes all the way through, gets full rotation within the spine, and finishes all the way through with the arm, and that's where he ends up really becoming a quarterback that can put a lot of force behind the football. All right, guys, as always, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and reach out to me, and would be happy to answer any of your questions there. Been doing a lot more breakdowns lately, so if you're interested in doing that, quarterbacks, sprinters, anybody that is interested in improving their overall performance, would love to be able to help you out. We have links below that you can click on to get a breakdown. We also have the throwing program. I know there's a lot of guys that are going through the season right now, so I understand that it's probably not a great time to do the throwing program, but we do offer it, and it is something that I still think we can provide a lot of value for you. So if you have any questions on that, you can always reach out to me, Morey, M-O-R-E-Y, at yourperformancelab.com, or you can call me at 818-577-7849. Thanks, and I will talk to you guys soon.